Hey everybody, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses here. I'm here with the lovely Patrice Johnson, also known as Naturally Treese. And of course, joining us today is my good friend, Shaquita Graham of Black Tech Guide. How you doing, ladies?
I'm doing great.
Okay, so we have some infuriating stuff to cover here. And I'll start with the original story, which Patrice may give us a few snippets of after I introduce it. So Zoe Saldana proudly says that she has a son and she dresses her son in girls' clothing and she doesn't see a problem with that. And when the story came up, I remember, Shaquita, you and I quickly discussed another story about the actress Charlize Theron, who's a Hollywood actress, a white woman, adopted a black kid, and we were seeing pictures of him dressed in a yellow dress and sandals, just like a girl would be dressed. Then the other thing is, well, I'll leave it there and hear what you ladies have to say. Patrice, do you have a little bit more to share about the Zoe Saldana story?
Yeah, I have a quote.
Okay, good.
Okay. It says, my husband and I, we don't like to just stick to like the boys section, and we like putting leggings on our sons, believe it or not. And then she also says, but sometimes when we can't find something that we need, we'll go to the girl section, and we like seeing our kids, our boys in pastels, bright pink colors, and they like it as well.
Okay. Shaquita, what say you?
Wow, this is disturbing, like on so many freaking levels. I mean, Zoe Saldana, man, she is constantly offensive, just from her standpoint, saying that she's not a black woman. And I watched her movie with Ben Affleck, which was like some people call YBW dream, except for she got killed at the end in her relationship with Ben Affleck, because I believe she's married to a white man. And this just is an example of how our culture gets attacked, and we allow people to usurp our values and the way that we operate by mixing with people who don't uphold the same types of values that we do. And I think this whole situation with Charlize Theron, she's from South Africa. And we know the history, the heinous and hateful history of South Africans against Black people. I think that plays a role in why she is degrading this young Black man in public. And I think we should all be very offended and take a stand against people like this. And that's just my starting thoughts.
Right. I just want to say the South Africans are the Black people and the white people came from somewhere else.
Right. They call them Afrikaners, right? And they usually come from like Dutch background.
Yeah, ancestry. I just wanted, just clarify that the South Africans are the Black people, even though the white people in South Africa like to call themselves Afrikaners or South Africans or whatever it is. They're imposters who came in and started killing the people there.
Perfect.
And Charlize Theron is just doing it in another form. So I'm just completely agreeing with you and just kind of clarifying. And then, Zoe Saldana, when I was thinking about this story, and I have two sons, and my husband doesn't even like for either one of his sons. My youngest son, who's about 14 months, has a bushy afro. My husband doesn't even like him, pretending to have a ponytail like I have, or anything like that. And it's not because, he's homophobic or anything like that. It's because we've decided for our kids that there's going to be a clear delineation of what the expectation is from our sons and what the expectation is for our daughters. And we're not interested in blurring that line. So we don't even do it with the way they dress. We don't do it with the way they behave. And we don't do it with the expectations that we set for them. I think that it's even more important because there is an effort, a strong effort, to take away the men that are in our society while they're already under attack from a number of other things. Another way that they're taken is to be turned into people who are passive and non-threatening. And believe you me, nobody can argue with me when I tell you that if I saw a man coming to me wearing a dress and a man looking masculine, the one who's most threatening to me is the one who is not wearing a dress. So that idea that a man has to be emasculated, softened, pacified is actually a very, very offensive thing. And it's been going on for a very, very long time. Patrice, I see you nodding. I know you have something to say.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. I wanted to touch on what Shaquita said real quick about how she's always offending the African-American community, because when she did the movie for Nina Simone, the biopic, that was terrible. I was like, who is this light-skinned person with brown shit on their face? Because she was stupid. It looked a mess. She didn't even sound like Nina Simone. So that's one. Secondly, we have to all remember the household that these boys probably grow up in, because her husband actually took her last name.
What?
Her husband took her last name.
He took Zoe's last name?
Zoe Saldana's husband, he took her last name.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Married. So I mean, it's obvious that there's going to be some no shade, but some softies in that family. Now, as for allowing her children to dress like girls, you hear a lot of parents, and I'll tell a story of when I was in Walmart just the other day. I met a 4-year-old boy. He looked like he was about 8. He was a big kid, but he was 4. And he had on like a baseball jersey and some tennis shoes and some jeans and like a baseball cap. A regular looking kid. He was jumping all over the place, whatever. And I was in the shoe section and I was looking at shoes, and his mom, he was biracial. His mother was white. She came around the corner with some with some pink ballerina shoes. And she was like, do you like these? Do you like these? And he said, yeah. So I'm thinking maybe they're getting them for somebody. She told him to try them on. And I'm trying to mind my business and get what I'm gonna get, but obviously it's really hard because I'm wondering what's going on. And so she put the shoes on him, and he was like, I like them. And I could see if maybe they had like some cars on them or something, a baseball bat. They didn't have any of that. They were pink ballerina shoes with diamonds on them. And so the mother proceeded to walk over to me and try and explain herself, and I didn't ask her to, but the fact that she even tried to explain herself, she knew what she was doing was pressuring her son to have no gender roles, as a lot of people try to put it. Right. And he said that his father actually doesn't like the fact that she is so free with what he wears and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just thinking to myself, well, he's biracial, so his dad's probably black. You know what I mean? But I do think that this is something that's a part of the white culture. This is not a part of the black culture. And then you have a lot of people say, well, why do they have to be gender roles? Why do we have to pick and choose whether we want to be a guy or a girl and this and that? And my question that I pose to those people is, why is it when a woman decides to become a lesbian, she starts to dress like a guy? And when a guy decides he wants to be gay, he starts to dress like a girl. If there are no gender roles, then why are you dressing like the opposite sex? That makes no sense.
Good question.
And then next is just allowing children to make their own choices. Listen, I'm 27 years old. When I was 4, my mama could have held a pint of gasoline and an onion in front of me and asked me if I wanted, and I would have been like, oh my God, yes, thank you so much, because I'm 4. I mean, how do you really make decisions at 4 years old? And I mean, kids want to eat candy for breakfast. You gonna let them eat candy, then they 27 years old, wonder why they ain't got no teeth, because you were just trying to be your child's friend and you were allowing your children to make their own decisions. And you have a lot of people who say, well, we don't need to worry about that. We need to stay out of people's bedrooms and stay out of people's houses. And my first question is, if you are allowing these children to make their own decisions and you feel like adults can make their own decisions, okay, so I guess it's okay for a grown man to have sex with a 6-year-old boy, because we need to stay in our place. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's a whole lot of stuff, and it's kind of all over the place. But this doesn't surprise me about Zoe Saldana. It doesn't surprise me.
Shaquita, you were saying something?
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is, what do we do? Because really there's no need to even justify, really for me to even address why this doesn't make sense. The people who are engaged in these things, they know exactly what they're doing. We make the mistake of believing that these people are misguided or they're just crazy. They're very deliberate and determined in what they are working on. For instance, when my son was still in public school, it's supposed to be a very nice, a very good public school. His sweet little white teacher gave him a history exam. He got 100% on it. One of the questions was, when was Harriet Tubman not brave? The three options were when she escaped from slavery, when she helped other people escape from slavery, or when she hit her master in the head with an iron. Now, how blatant is the attempt to make this child accept that they should have a master, that they should not respond to human trafficking or when someone is attacking them, and that they should uphold these standards of authoritative enemies, you know? And so this is deliberate. And what we have to do is, as Black women, understand that our role is to shape our community and to take a stand against these people and make sure that our children understand that these people are playing a divisive and role against us, and they are our enemies, and that we are not to follow them because they're trying to indoctrinate the next generation. On top of that, that Charlize Theron woman is abusing that Black child. And a lot of white people, there's been a lot of stories in the news where white people are adopting these children for organ trafficking, for abuse, and even these white missionaries going over to Haiti and abusing children. We need to find ways to protect our children. So that's what we need to do to combat these things.
Exactly. We need to find a way to protect our children versus telling them to wear pink sweaters and feathery, foofy shoes and their little boys. If you have a boy dressing like a girl, what do you think he's going to act like? He's going to act like a girl. So he's not going to be brave. He's not going to be, I don't even know what the hell that teacher was talking about. I don't understand what that had to do with history anyway. But he's not going to be brave if he's too busy trying to pick out his favorite wig. I mean, that's common sense.
See, the thing about it is, okay, just think about the fact that when you're raising a kid, what are you really trying to do? For my part, when I'm raising a daughter, I want her to be a contributing member of society, and not just society in general, of the Black community, okay? A keeper of the Black community. The same applies to a Black boy being raised. You want him to grow up to be a contributing member of society in the best way possible. I don't feel any kind of way about being clear about the fact that men are providers and protectors, okay? There's no doubt in my mind that that's how they were created, to be providers and protectors. Now, you ask me if when he's 6 years old, he's wearing a little yellow sundress and sandals, okay? That is emasculation. It doesn't have any other word to explain it, okay? And they are making him less like a young man who will grow up to protect and provide. Even if he grows up and becomes normal, there's going to be shame attached to the things that happened to him when he was young. Can you imagine when you look back into your pictures and you're a little boy and you're trying to really be taken seriously, and there's pictures of you with little dresses and things like that? That is abuse. I agree with Shaquita on that end, that is abuse. Now, why would we have the expectation, okay? Because we know what we're doing. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know what Shaquita is doing. I know what Patrice is doing. We're people who care about the Black community. We care about Black people. We care about our upliftment. We care about our generational success and wealth, okay? We know what we're doing when we're raising kids. We know what we're doing when we're affecting other Black people. Why would we have the expectation, okay, of Charlize Theron that she's going to raise a young Black man who's going to be a leader and a teacher, a protector and a provider in the Black community? Why would we have that expectation of her? Same thing with Zoe Saldana. She has said, she's told us in plain words that she does not belong in the Black community, regardless of what we think or how we feel about how she looks. She said it clearly with her words. Then she went further and married into a different generational line to further get away from her Blackness or the Black community. So why would we have the expectation that she would raise a young Black man to be a contributing member of society, and specifically in the Black community? I don't have that expectation. So what to do, okay? I think that we have to think about the fact that just in the same way that you see in the news when little Becky is abducted, they came up with Amber Alerts, everybody's outraged. We should have the same level of outrage about little Black boys being abused in this way. We have to stop trying to normalize things that are not normal, that are not okay, and that are actually abuse. Did I stun you?
I don't know who to, I don't want to, yeah, well, let me just say, the thing is, we have too many people in the community that want to follow a European status quo. If the Europeans say, hey, we're doing this new thing, it's like, okay, yeah, we want to embrace that. Another thing is we are tied to these media outlets that are propaganda machines, and we buy into every single thing they do and say. So we have to be a lot more dedicated to developing our own media streams and developing our own narratives and introducing culturally relevant educational philosophies to our children. Somebody asked me the other day, they knew I was homeschooling, and they said, have you introduced your sons to the classics? I'm like, what the hell? The classics? You're talking about Huckleberry Finn, you know, all of these racist garbage books. I'm like, my son is reading The Message to the Black Man by Elijah Muhammad. He just finished the autobiography of Malcolm X. He read Dr. Boyce's book. He's reading Black Anglo-Saxons. This is the type of education our children. I couldn't even find enough Black children's books with the right mindset for my child. So I'm like, you know what? Nonfiction. We're going nonfiction. Just, you know, he's got Dr. Claude Anderson's book. I mean, they're constantly, Marcus Garvey's writings. We need to get in their heads and stop submitting their young, naive brains to these European sick people. Now, I'm not saying all Europeans are sick, but there are a lot of them in our schools that are teaching our children. They're having sex with our children. They're teaching them lies that they know are lies. And we just need to resist this, because I felt that I was abusing my child by submitting them and subjecting them to these people.
Well, it's just like what you said about the media outlets. I do believe that the media outlets have a big, they have a huge agenda in trying to brainwash children. I remember I was watching a Disney cartoon just the other day, and two boys were kissing.
They're the worst.
Yeah. And so I think that this kind of brings about the conversation, not yet to touch on the Black Santa, but when you hear a lot of parents who say, or you hear a lot of gays, LGBTQ, who say, I was born this way. I have a really tough time with that. I personally do not believe that anybody is born homosexual, transgender. I think people are raised into believing that they are born that way, because when you see a woman trying to force her child to wear some pink shoes, but he's born gay, so how did he know that he liked pink shoes? Listen, if you're born gay, but you don't even remember the day that you were born, you just contradicted yourself. And if you are, as a child, as a baby, you already know what type of boy or girl to like, but you don't even know how to feed yourself. You've been here before. You need to quit playing. Seriously, because the whole thing about being born gay, that makes absolutely no sense. I don't believe people are born gay. I don't believe people are born straight. But you have a lot of propaganda right now that's telling people, well, I was just born gay, so you're born gay too, and now all of a sudden everybody's gay. No, this is what you see on TV more than ever. That would be like saying I was born a racist. I wasn't born a racist.
Well, I think I want to chime in on that, Patrice. I don't want to even dispute what you were born as, because I know some people are born liars, some people are born thieves, some people are born mean, some people are born crybabies, you know. So my thing is, whatever you were born as, you were still taught to be a certain way. You were taught to be respectable. I mean, hopefully you were taught to be respectful, loving, caring, to have character. And so you should be taught gender roles as well. I think that there are a lot of, you know, I just really think that we need to stop buying into this homophobia label, you know, just because you don't want people in your community to be excited about sodomy, that means you're homophobic. Like, because I don't want nobody, you know, manipulating my anus, that means that I'm not supposed to be afraid of that. Yeah, I'm afraid of that. I'm not interested in teaching my child to embrace that. I'm just not, like, really.
It's almost like the feminist movement. Anytime you don't even have to slander the group. Anytime you say something that they disagree with, or if you openly disagree with them, oh, you a hater, you're speaking hate speech. I'm not speaking hate speech. I'm just telling you don't make no sense. So you have a lot of people who are like that. But when you say, okay, explain it to me, they can't explain it to you. They just say, oh, you're just ignorant. Well, you ignorant too, because you can't even explain it.
Right.
Lifestyle that you live. So I just don't follow none of them movements.
I think the problem that I'm having is because I think if you're an adult who wants to sodomize another adult, that's on you, okay? You can do whatever you want in the privacy of your home or whatever. My issue is, and you mentioned the gay Black Santa, they didn't create that character to entertain adults. They created that character to influence the mind of small kids and to normalize ideas that their parents are not even getting a say-so in terms of whether they agree with that or not. Because that's what happens with television, is it comes in behind the scenes and influences your child. Not just television, movies, all of these Disney characters. You just mentioned a homosexual scene on television. Basically said two boys kissing. That's a homosexual scene.
That's like light porn. I mean,
on a children's network. And then now we have the gay Black Santa. We all know that Santa was created. Santa's another story, but let's just stick to the fact that Santa was created as a myth that kids are supposed to believe in. So when you start to talk about Santa being gay, and then here's where it always gets interesting is he's made Black and gay. So it has that idea that we're tying in civil rights of Black people with the rights of gay people, and they're almost becoming combined to the point where it blurs the lines. So then people will begin to say that when you say, wait a minute, I don't believe in homosexuality, or I don't think that I want my kids to learn that, they try to paint you with the same brush as the bigot who has done heinous things, a white bigot who has done heinous things to Black people. And they say, well, you're the same. He's prejudiced, you're prejudiced, so you guys are the same. And it's not. But the thing is, we're adults. We can tear all that apart. But can kids do that? No, they can't. And when you're coming in at a very young age and influencing their mind in that way, that's dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
That's dangerous.
Well, can I say?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Disney is the worst. Okay, I want to go on a Disney cruise so bad, but I don't want to give them any of my money. And what I try to do to combat their seduction and pulling kids is because I homeschool, or which I advocate, or that you supplement your child's education. I teach them about the subconscious and the conscious mind, and I teach them to look at these programs and deconstruct, like you said, what are the messages? Entertainment is not just entertainment. I've broken that myth down from them a long time ago. This is not just entertainment. These people are sending messages to you, and there is a purpose for these commercials and all of this. So what are they telling you? And I asked them to take a look at that. And I think that we should be doing that with our children. We should be tearing away this idea that this is entertainment. We are allowing our children to get in a very, we're allowing them to go into the sunken place and be programmed. We're allowing them to be programmed, and it's not a tea and a spoon anymore. It's just these Disney characters that came out of the mind of a racist white supremacist. And then from the standpoint of this Santa Claus character, which from my understanding was developed from a Black saint or a real Black person in a Turkish environment. I'm not sure exactly if that region was Turkey or whatnot, but he was a Black man who had done these things. So it was already taken and perverted into a white fat man, which our children should never be taught to look at any white person as somebody that they can get things from, or someone that they should not be suspicious of. And again, I'm not saying that all white people are bad, but any stranger you should be suspicious of, and anybody who has a historical history of subjugating and hurting your people, you should be suspicious of them.
Mm-hmm. And listen, and I'm glad you just said that. I'm sorry, Patrice, I'll let you talk in a second. I just want you to understand I just want to kind of zero in on what you said, Shaquita, when you said that kids should not be trying to appease a white old man. But that is actually what happens all year round in the homes of white kids. Is like, don't be bad. Otherwise, Santa's not going to, reward you with a bunch of presents or whatever. And I can't for the life of me understand why any Black parent would be sitting around telling their kids that their motivation to be good is to appease a big, fat, white man who comes flying into your house or whatever it is.
That you don't never see.
Yeah, that is just the most, it's the most ridiculous thing to me. And every time I tell people that, oh no, my kids don't, our family doesn't celebrate Christmas, then they say, well, are you this? Are you that? Are you a Jehovah's Witness? Are you that? No, I'm none of those things. I'm just a person who believes that I don't need to introduce a fake white man to my kids as the person who's going to reward them for good behavior every single year, and that be the underlying reason to behave well as their kids. Again, it's a dangerous thing. And I think that when we get caught up, I'm a person who doesn't believe that we have to go with the mainstream, because the mainstream wasn't created for us in the first place. Most people who know me and know, of me and you, Shaquita, or me and you, Patrice, recording, know that I also homeschool my kids. And that's because I ran out of reasons to justify having my kids in an environment that was continuously telling them things that were just outrageous. Because the thing is, even when they're in school, even if you do your best at home to tell them the truth, they're facing lies every day at school. They're going to be crying in December, Mommy, how come we're not doing what so-and-so is doing? At school, they'll be all, drawing him, and all the assignments are circulating around us, and the tree with the phallic symbol. Everything is always going to be dedicated to all these lies and this indoctrination of our kids. So no matter what you do, even when you do your best, you're fighting something that is also fighting you back with the exact opposite of what you're trying to teach your kids.
Mm-hmm. So the message of this video, ladies and gentlemen, is to homeschool your kids. Don't let your boys wear girls' clothes. Don't let your girls wear boys' clothes, and teach them gender roles. Because if we do not have gender roles, that means people are all over the place and nobody knows which direction they should go.
It's confusion. It's confusion.
It is a huge amount of confusion, and we don't have time for that because we are your Black women. I am naturally Treese, NATURALLYTRIECE. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as Fly Nubian Queen, where I go live.
Shaquita, do you want to tell our viewers where they can find you?
Sure, I'm Shaquita Graham. I'm your tech advocate and evangelist. You can get free information about technology careers and businesses at blacktechguide.net. That's TECH guide.net.
Awesome. I actually wanted to mention that you did a really awesome live event on Sunday, and the recording, where can we find that recording?
It's at YouTube. Mm-hmm.
It's on YouTube at YouTube/Boyce Watkins on Dr. Boyce Watkins Channel. You can find that. I saw a clip of it, and I looked through the comments, and everybody was raving about the amount of information they were getting, and how important it was to have the perspective of a Black woman in the tech field, and who knows, who's enterprising and knows business. I really enjoyed looking through the comments, because sometimes we have to deal with so much negativity, but I enjoyed that particular stream of comments. And just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, Patrice. Great a great co-host as always. And of course, you, Shaquita, I love you. Great co-host as well. If you guys want to find me, I am on Facebook. You can find me at my exact name as it is, Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses. The same thing is true for my other page, which is a fan page. You can follow me there too. It's Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses. So thank you guys, and thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.